What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. It's Friday, which means the end of the week, the day most people look forward to because they have the whole weekend in front of them to play some games or get stuff done. But we have today to still go through, and we actually have quite a bit of news that took place yesterday, including the Balloon World update that did hit Mario Odyssey out of nowhere, kind of, and Nintendo just announced it. And then, strangely, Gordon Freeman shows up in a world that no one really was expecting. Now, if you're new here and you enjoy seeing a lot of the video game news from the video game world, tech teardowns, things like that, consider subscribing. We do Newswave every weekday, Monday through Friday, and then a lot of fun stuff on the weekends, including a full podcast. So, for now, guys, let's get started. So yesterday, Mario Odyssey got the free Balloon World update that adds Luigi into the game, something people have been asking for a little while since Mario Odyssey came out and no one could find him in the game. Well, he's been hiding, apparently with balloons, because now you can go download this update for free, which is pretty cool. We did see it at that little Nintendo Direct that took place, and they talked about a free update coming in February, and we're getting towards the end of the month. We were thinking, Where's this update? Because we're almost at the end and Nintendo hasn't said much. Well, randomly, this was at like midnight the other night. They just announced it and said, hey, it's out. You can go download it now and it's free. And yeah, and this Balloon World update is interesting. It's not technically a new world, as the title tells you, but it's more of a mini-game that you can now play. To activate the mini-game, you find Luigi in each world, and he'll give you a balloon assignment. And this minigame actually has an online component to it, so you either hide a balloon for other players to find, or you're finding balloons that other players have hidden for you. So it's kind of a cool way to add like co-op kind of to it, or I guess more of a competition. It's a free update, so while people weren't really sure what the point of it was, I think it's just, hey, it's free stuff. It's stuff getting added to the game, so why not? It, of course, gives you replayability through a game that maybe you've gone through and gotten all the moons and you're done with it. This is probably going to have you go back and try it out at least just to see how it plays, and hey, you can technically play against other people. I like that idea, and while it's nothing groundbreaking, it's something free to add to the experience. Also, it comes with a bunch of little outfits and stuff that you can buy with the coins you earn. Just know that it's some of them are pretty neat, and I don't want to just ruin them for you, so some of them are kind of fun to get, so go check them out when you play through the Balloon World DLC. You'll see some of the outfits I'm talking about. Next up, let's touch on two different games that are kind of on either end of the spectrum here when it comes to microtransactions. The first one we're going to talk about is Metal Gear Survive, because this game cannot stay out of the news, and it's not good news most of the time. First of all, this game, people are still waiting for reviews because they didn't turn servers on like I talked about before until the day it came out. So reviewers were kind of hamstrung and had to at least wait to play the game, because most reviewers should put, hours and hours into even the multiplayer aspect to get an idea of how the game plays. But still, we're kind of left with a game that we're still not really sure how it plays unless you've already bought it. But there are a few things that are coming out, and one of them appears to be Konami charging for an additional character slot. Now, what happens here is you have to buy survival coins. These are like a premium currency. It's kind of like the currency like gold, for example, in certain games where you actually have to buy it with real money. In this case, you buy survival coins and you would use 1,000 of them. That's a little less than $10, because $10 I believe gets you 1,100 or so, 1,150 these coins. You actually use $10 worth of that coins to buy an additional character slot. Now, this is all over the place right now on the internet. People are freaking out, and I'm sure some people online will have some fun with attacking Konami over this. And honestly, it's kind of hard to defend it, because, I mean, look what they're doing. They're now charging for save slots. A lot of games have hundreds of save slots, but this one has technically one character slot. Now, would you really need more than one character slot in this game? You may not, but other people might actually find use for that. For example, in this case, it's always online, which means if you make another account to play Metal Gear Survive, you probably need another PlayStation Online account that you are then paying for. In this case, you can instead pay $10 and save some money there. Now, if you're a family and you have one online account because that's all that's provided to you by your parents and you're playing this game, yeah, it makes sense. Maybe you're annoyed that you have to pay $10 so that your brother or your sister or whoever can play the game when you're not there, or maybe that you don't want them to play on your character. But if it's just you, I mean, you can completely customize your character. I don't really know why you would need another character other than that, but still, it's we're to the point now where you're paying money to have an additional character slot. Now, Metal Gear Solid 5 also had microtransactions, but it also had its full single-player slot. It only had, I believe, one save slot anyway, but you could make multiple accounts, play through the single-player that way. In this case, it's always online, so you're paying for that subscription service to PlayStation, then get another character slot, so I guess $10 is technically the cheapest way to do it. Konami must have known that. So, hey, there you go. They're charging, we're to the point where it costs $10 to have another character on your account. The other one is Burnout Paradise, the game that we saw, the remastered Burnout Paradise that we saw the other day that was announced by EA. And on PlayStation Store, it did talk about in-game purchases, which, of course, had everyone up in arms, kind of freaking out that they're really adding microtransactions and loot boxes to Burnout Paradise Remastered. We loved this game back in the day, and now you might potentially ruin it with in-game microtransactions, loot boxes, etc. Well, in this case, it sounds like, from what we know right now, according to an EA community manager, there will be no loot boxes, no microtransactions in this game, and that was actually an error. Now, this was on Twitter from Ben Walk, who again is an EA community manager, saying, just a heads up, but the store listing for Burnout Paradise that mentions in-game purchases optional is an error. There is no microtransactions or any additional paid-for content. Pitchforks down, please. So this is kind of where we are with EA right now. Even though that's an error, people obviously combed through the listing to see if it was there in the first place because we don't trust EA at all now. Pretty much any game they come out with, whether they publish it or develop it, we have to look at it and say, well, are there microtransactions in there? Are there loot boxes in there? Because that's just to the point we are with EA now. They've lost, most gamers anyway, they've lost their trust. Most people who are online talking about them, we kind of see them as the loot box company after what happened with games like Battlefront 2, Need for Speed. Need for Speed goes under the radar a lot, but that one was riddled with them. Even UFC has tons of them. UFC, like, you're unlocking like moves and stuff from it's so weird, but whenever we see these games come back, we always feel like EA has an ulterior motive, and I mean, we're kind of justified thinking that, right? So I don't see, it's so hard here, but I understand why people would be really frustrated and freak out right away, because that's just kind of what we've been really groomed to think at this point of EA. So I'm glad, at least for the time being, from an EA community manager telling us this, I'm glad that there won't be any microtransactions or loot boxes, but I'm still not sure. That's how crazy it is right now. I'm seeing this from an EA community manager, but I'm still like, are we sure there's no microtransactions in this thing? I'm gonna at least give them the benefit of the doubt and say there won't be, but I also won't be surprised if we get the release day and we look over and it's, oh, to unlock this part for the car, to unlock this car, I have to roll for it in a loot box? Or there's premium currency? Okay, I guess I'm not surprised. I'm just disappointed. Next up, let's talk about Zelda Breath of the Wild, because it has been massively successful pretty much everywhere. But the place that it's been, I think, the most surprising and the most successful is in Japan. Because this is a place where Zelda has not cracked 1 million units since Ocarina of Time. At least that's until now. Breath of the Wild, between the Wii U and the Switch version, has now passed 1 million units according to Media Crate sales charts. You will see the chart here, and you will see how much of a difference it has been now with Breath of the Wild as opposed to the most recent Zeldas in Japan, where Zelda is actually not super popular as opposed to other parts of the world. The Switch version accounts for 871,528 units, and with the Wii U tacking on another 133,024 units, we do get over the million mark, just by a little bit, just by a couple thousand units, but we get there. And this tells us at this point that yes, Breath of the Wild does deserve all the accolades that it's been receiving. I personally don't think anyone's really disputing that actually has played it and understands the chance they took with this Zelda game. And I'm really happy to see it getting this level of success. I mean, Ocarina of Time was the last one that sold over 1 million units in Japan. That should tell you everything you need to know. The other crazy thing is, I don't think Zelda is out of the realm of possibility of outselling Ocarina of Time in Japan after seeing the Media Creates charts where it's still charting in the top 10. It's going to be kind of a slow burn here, but I wouldn't be shocked, guys, in the next year or two we look back at the charts and Breath of the Wild does pass Ocarina of Time for the best-selling Zelda at this point in Japan. How crazy would that be if it passed Ocarina of Time? That would be amazing to see, and it would just be, again, just how amazing the team behind Zelda is to take a franchise that has honestly been around for so long and to just completely change everything about it, give everyone a different experience, and everyone's buying again. Next up, let's talk about Ni no Kuni 2. Because it has gone gold, and this is something that people have been worried about. Will it get delayed again? Because, well, let's face it, it's been delayed twice now, and we all kind of look at it hesitantly as, is it going to be delayed again? It's supposed to be on the PS4, it's supposed to be on the PC in March, right? March 23rd. and we haven't technically heard much about it going gold. Well, it has gone gold. PlayStation actually took to Twitter, posted a tweet showing this, saying, yes, it's gone gold. You can pick it up at the end of March on the PlayStation. Of course, you can also get it on the PC, but they weren't going to announce that on their own Twitter because they want you to buy it on the PlayStation. But Ni no Kuni 2 is coming out. When something goes gold like this, that means that they believe, the developers and publishers and everything, that this game is ready to ship. It's basically ready to distribute to gamers, and we can then play through it. That probably means that where it is now, it probably will still need an update. A lot of people sometimes see, oh, gone gold, no massive day one update. No, it just means there's no game-breaking bugs or anything that will completely wipe your save file or something. It's ready to sell. We'll probably still get some kind of day one update that's pretty much commonplace now. Just know it should not get delayed because it's ready to go. It's probably already being stamped on discs at this point, and they're ramping up to then ship out to stores. So exciting stuff for people who are looking forward to Ni no Kuni 2 like myself, and we'll be able to pick it up in stores and online March 23rd. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about HalfLife. And I'm not talking about HalfLife 3, even though people are probably like, oh wow, HalfLife, this is going to be great. No, it's Final Fantasy 15 doing another weird crossover. Listen, we've seen it with Assassin's Creed, and I thought I'd seen everything then. I was like, wow, Final Fantasy mixing with Assassin's Creed, that's weird. I mean, I guess you can kind of make an argument for it. And then I see Noctis walk in a Tekken 7, and I'm like, it's still really weird, but okay. Well, now we've just gone off the rails here, okay? Because now we see Gordon Freeman being added to the Final Fantasy 15 universe. I'm not kidding. Gordon Freeman is now in Final Fantasy 15, and you can see the slide here that they presented to the press in a press release and then online, and it went everywhere. It's all over the place. People are talking about it. The Final Fantasy 15 Windows Edition. Players who purchase Final Fantasy 15 Windows Edition on Steam before May 1st, 2018 will be eligible to claim the Half-Life pack. This pack contains items that let you wear Gordon Freeman's legendary suit from Half-Life, available for both single-player campaign and multiplayer expansion comrades. This includes the HEV suit, the scientist glasses, and the crowbar. That's right, you can then use the crowbar to beat things up in Final Fantasy 15. I thought I'd seen it all. I guess I have not. They're also adding cross-save and cross-play for the Xbox version of Final Fantasy 15 with the PC version. Good move there. It's good to see that we're getting that cross-play kind of down between the Xbox and the PC version. Of course, we know PlayStation doesn't play nice, so I get why it's not there for PlayStation, but this is still a good move. Final Fantasy 15 is just mixing with anything they can. And listen, it's going to get a lot of people on Steam buying it. In fact, this is probably more a Steam move than it is a Square move, because at this point, honestly, every store is kind of offering something. The Microsoft Store is offering like a starter kit, Origin's offering extra stuff as well, and here's Steam kind of throwing their hat in the ring with Gordon Freeman, something they really haven't done much with. At this point, Square is doing more with Gordon Freeman than Valve is, and it's kind of sad if you really think about that. But there you go. It's very weird to see, but hey, I mean, I guess it's kind of cool to have Gordon Freeman in Final Fantasy 15. But of course, Final Fantasy 15 does launch March 6th, so it's 2 weeks away, and we'll be able to play it in 4K, 60 frames per second. By the way, I'm very surprised still with how well the PC version seems to run on lesser hardware. Even with something like a GTX 970, I was still able to get over 60 frames at 1080p. So more than likely, if you have like a 1060 and up, you'll be able to really experience Final Fantasy 15 in a different way than we did on consoles, where, man, if you got to 30 frames, that was an accomplishment. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it today for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, guys. Really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave a bunch of comments down below about everything we talked about today. Maybe you understand why Breath of the Wild did cross that million mark for the first time since Ocarina of Time, and maybe you think it'll also go on to be one of the most successful Zelda games ever, and maybe the most successful game in Japan. It really is a massive departure from what we've seen with different Zelda games in the past, and I think it's showing where a lot of people really enjoy the game, and they're very, very interested in it running on something like the Switch, and it seems to make a lot of sense why it's doing so well. Also, let me know what you think about all these Final Fantasy 15 crossovers that we're seeing. Assassin's Creed, Tekken, Half-Life? Like, what's with that? Why Half-Life? Gordon Freeman is in Final Fantasy 15. Noctis is running around in an HEV suit and using a crowbar. So who knows at this point, but I think it's really funny. And then, of course, let me know what you think about Konami charging for an additional character slot. Maybe you don't care because you don't need one. Or maybe you're really annoyed because you did need that extra character slot for a family member or a friend, and now you have to make the decision between, do I give them $10, do I just get my friend or my family member another PlayStation Plus account that they can play online with? Thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a great weekend. We'll see you here back Monday, 8 a.m. Eastern Time for Newswave.